Good evening from wherever you're watching us from. Thank you so much for staying with TV47. And for the next hour, we bring you the news besides the news, and you can be part of this conversation. Leave your comments on our Facebook live stream. The page is TV47 Kenya. Our Twitter handle is TV47KE. You can also call in or send your SMSs live through the numbers on the bottom right of your screen. Tonight, Emmanuel Inonda is in the building.
Yes, how are you?
Good. What's up?
The lights.
The number of COVID-19 cases in the country, my friend. I'm telling you. We also have Lewis Wachira. He's no longer a new face to this show. Hi, Lewis.
Hi, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. I hope you had a fantastic day.
I'm great. I'm healthy and temperature is about below 37, so I'm good.
Now, speaking of temperature being at 37, tonight coronavirus, COVID-19, has delivered another blow to the country. 123 new infections in the country. This is the highest number of cases recorded in a single day. We continued to behave normally. Now see, this disease is treating us abnormally. Emmanuel.
123 at a figure of after over 3,000 samples tested. I don't think it's a big number.
Really?
Yeah, we just increased the number of testing because at 1,000 we used to have 30, 40, 50. So assuming we had 50 at 1,000 times 3, that is 15, will be 150. So 123 is just, it goes with the number of the tested samples. So I don't think it's a huge number. But then again, it has exposed us. Let's see if we can handle it. Really, because
you know, Emmanuel, the problem is when you start bringing in the math like that, then it shows you maybe in every certain number of people, you can't be sure that there is a person who has contracted COVID-19, because if you say the numbers will increase as we continue testing in mass.
Yeah.
Lewis, what does this mean for us?
Seems Lewis is...
Lewis, bwana. Unatusikia ama bundles?
Hello?
Can you hear?
Inapotea. Nilikuwa nashangaa what's happening.
All right, okay.
What's up?
Nimesikia Emmanuel akisema it's okay. Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you, Lewis.
Emmanuel akisema it's okay, but in my opinion it's not.
Really?
Because
Yes, continue, Lewis.
Hello, Tracy.
Yes, I can hear you,
Tracy,
Lewis.
I think you might have to cut me off, Ju. Siski.
All right, Sawa. Let us fix that problem. But Emmanuel Inonda.
Yes.
Should we be worried by the numbers that we have witnessed today?
What we should be worried about is not the numbers, but where are those samples coming from? Those people who are tested, did they go for volunteer testing, or they were, or what happened? Because if they volunteered to test, then it means that there are so many people living among us with the virus.
I can tell you where they came from, Emmanuel. The fact that the CES has been missing in action for a while. He's always the bearer of bad news. I feel like his job is really unfair, because there's nothing really nice you can tell us with COVID-19.
Have you ever looked at his eyes when he's about to start the speech?
He gives you that side eye. That side eye your parent has told you, if you continue to behave normally. And then with the side eye.
Yeah, so since when he went to Machakos, we've not seen him until today when he came back with the numbers. 123. Actually, it's a huge number since when you started testing the COVID, since when the positive cases were being identified. But right now at 123, then it means Corona is with us. It's not going anywhere. It's not turning down.
Yeah.
Let's start living with it and know how to live with it.
You know, my problem is, Emmanuel, even as you tell us to learn how to live with it, Lewis, I don't know if you're back, why are we suggesting that we reopen the country right now? The highest number of COVID-19 cases in the country in a single day today. Yet still, we are clamoring for the reopening of our border counties.
The argument is if people continue staying at home, eventually they will run out of resources. And what will happen when they run out of resources? They'll get out to go and find those resources.
Lewis, we will not run out because our government has borrowed over 200 billion in the last month or so. We have plenty, we would think.
200 billion is not a lot of money. Like,
what are you saying? How many billions do you have, Lewis?
The country operates on a 1 trillion yearly budget.
All right.
200 billion, yes, is a lot of money, but it's still not a lot of money when you think about it, that it's supposed to sustain every Kenyan who is not working every day until this disease, starts to flatline. Now, my concern would be, one, if we are to wait for the government, one, there are people who might never get that aid, because somehow ingine ilikuliwa kwa njia.
So basically, Lewis, what you're telling us is we would rather die of COVID than die of hunger.
Yeah, basically that's what I'm trying to say.
Wow.
Because
I don't feel like there's any death that is sweet.
COVID, you can wear a mask, and prevent. Njaa itambui mask. You can wear 10 masks, but you'll still die of hunger. So
I actually agree with you, and we have seen. We have seen
COVID
various.
can be mitigated. Poverty is something else.
All right.
So the best of both would be reopening and strict precautions. That would be, in my opinion.
All right. And we have seen that Kenyans are actually struggling so hard to survive. A lot of them right now have, we did a story last night. If you missed our bulletins, please, our YouTube platforms, Facebook, Twitter, all our stories are there if you want to watch the story. But we actually did a story where we saw people who have turned their private cars into roadside kiosks. Emmanuel.
These are the people, they've eventually become hawkers. Before COVID, these are the people who wear their cars. Let's assume they're stuck in traffic. Then the hawkers will come and sell to them their products. But right now, it's now vice versa. They are selling the products to the hawkers. Since they can go out of the city and with some letters to bring goods, but life has really changed, because if all those people are people who cannot go to their offices because of the COVID, and it's high time we need to realize that COVID is with us, it's friendly, it can stay with people until you volunteer to go and check, then you can test positive from there. So let's just try to adapt and stay with the virus, because it's not going anywhere. Let's try to invent the businesses, because seeing along the bypass, Eastern bypass, there are so many private cars. Others are still new, but they are doing business, selling fruits, selling vegetables and all of that stuff. So it means that people are trying to live. This is how actually people need to live. They're trying to learn how to live. Unlike before, where that particular person wouldn't go and fetch fruits to come and sell alongside the road. So I think it's a good thing COVID came, it taught us so many things, and now it's high time to start living with it, because if you don't live with it, then
I actually agree with you, Emmanuel, and it's hilarious how you say that we should learn that COVID-19 has really turned these tables on us. People who are buyers have now become hawkers themselves, and I really hope we will be seeing a solution to some of these problems. I hope the 8-point package, 8-point stimulus package that the president announced will be of any help to us, but we will be looking out to see some of the other ingenious ways that Kenyans have to be able to just deal with this pandemic. Lewis, I don't know if you have seen the situation at our border towns, Malaba, Namanga, and traffic stretches up to 50 kilometers. Have you seen this scenario on our media platforms?
Yes, I have.
And you see, the truck drivers have actually come out to say that they were striking because they were mistreated in Uganda while they were on transit. My biggest worry is, why were they protesting in Kenya if the biggest problem then is in Uganda? Doesn't that beat logic?
No.
Really?
For example, yeah.
You have a problem with me, but you're addressing Emmanuel.
let me ask you a question. You go to your neighbor's house and you go and get beaten, you get thrashed thoroughly. Will you go crying to the neighbor's mother or will you go crying to your mother? Utaenda kulia kwenyu, right? Now,
well, my mother will not help in any way. She cannot thrash back the neighbor's child.
Yeah, so watakuja kustrike huku because we are their mother. Kenya ndo wanaweza watetea. But it's a dire situation because those are goods that Kenyans need. You know, the fact that we are importing those goods means vitu zinahitajika. So that's why I'm concerned. If we can't open up, it might mean some of these goods will be unaffordable in the next few.
And you see, the problem, Lewis, is actually some of these drivers say the pain of getting the COVID-19 test done does not match the pain of waiting for those results because it might actually run some of these people out of business. Inonda, I know you have a close association with, you know, people who are on the road like this. What is the situation like?
You know, Tracy, from Mombasa to Malaba to Kampala, all the way to Rwanda, to Congo, South Africa, all those areas, these are truckers who need to be respected, and because without them, most of these products we cannot reach them, we cannot buy them. These guys are at the border protesting the harassment in Uganda. But the Minister for EAC is saying these guys are protesting or they are against COVID testing. So then you wonder who is telling the truth. Those are the people who are on the roads. We've seen the footages, we've seen the video clips, how they are being harassed outside Uganda, outside Kenya, that is in Uganda. They cannot stop anywhere to go into any shop or any restaurant to buy food.
Yeah.
So what they do, they buy Meko gas and sufurias, all that stuff. So the truck is a truck stroke a house. So when they reach a particular destination, they have to stop there and cook for themselves.
You know, you make it sound like these truck drivers are usually on a road trip. It sounds like their job is really interesting. You know?
It's a road trip. It's a road trip. You need to go to let's say yourself from Mombasa to Nairobi with a truck. Utafika Nairobi, you'll take a plane or something else. So these guys, they're being mistreated. Even the gas they carry, the Uganda police, they snatch them, they beat them up, they label them corona. Yet, Uganda, being a landlocked country, needs us more than anyone else. They need to treat us well.
And this really puts a spotlight, Emmanuel, on the East African integration. I hope by the time COVID-19 ends and we're able to fight this pandemic, we will still be friends. I don't know. I really hope we will not be enemies. We saw last week the Kenya-Tanzania tiff. And tomorrow is Africa 411, and some of these issues will be highlighted. So remember, 9 p.m. to keep that reminder on if you need to. Now, to matters education and Kenya National Union of Teachers, NAT Secretary General Wilson Sossion now wants primary and secondary school national examinations to be postponed, get this, to next year, following disruption to the education sector occasioned by the coronavirus pandemic. Now, the debate on reopening of schools has been ongoing for the longest bite. Lewis, Sossion says that exams are not a ticket to heaven. Are we overplaying the importance of education and wanting to reopen?
Yes, we are overplaying the importance of education because there have been disasters previously. For example, during World War II, I was talking to an older gentleman who told me he was there during World War II. He was there during the fight for independence. And during World War II, schools were closed for 4 years.
4 years?
Yes, that's what he told me. I can't verify this information, but according to him, for 4 years, schools were closed. But do we still have doctors? Yes, we do. Do we have lawyers? Yes, we do. We have, you know, all those people needed to advance society. Okay,
and it feels like you're actually agreeing with Sossion because he was actually very livid. Emmanuel was actually working the shift. And what else did you pick up from this, Emmanuel?
Sossion, before I go to where I want to go to, he told us the schools need to, the KCSE and KCP exams need to be pushed to next year. You know, it's also creating another crisis. So next year, we have, how many candidates will you have? 2 Form 4, 2 KCSE, or which plan is he going to execute? Then I heard him saying that, okay, The churches, the pubs need to be reopened first so that...
And we actually have exactly what he said, so we can quote him on this verbatim.
Yeah.
Let's
open
listen.
the supermarkets, open the bars, so that you can test social distancing from those who will go and drink in the bars. Open the churches, and if there will be evidence when the curve shall have been flattened that it shall be safe to reopen schools, then we will be more than prepared to resume schools.
Lewis, we actually need to reopen the churches and bars first before we can touch children. That is the order of priority of matters in our country.
So, because if a drunk man can take social distance, can avoid corona, then it will be easier for children to do so.
But really have smart babies out here. I think he's behaving as if this is his generation. Children these days will teach you things. Lewis, your thoughts on this one?
No, Tracy, I don't agree with you. Smart babies does not mean they are smarter at avoiding illnesses. Measles came, it was a new disease, and it was still an outbreak. So I agree with Sosion this time. Let's be closed, and in fact, let's come up with other methods of learning.
But online learning, which was
but people, it's what.
I'm saying online learning, which has been the solution to this problem, has refused to work. We have seen areas where children do not have access to the internet, to devices where they can actually conduct online learning. To reopen schools.
I think it's too early to say that, Tracy. It's only been like 3 months.
Only, Lewis, in an academic calendar, 3 months is a whole term.
It is true, but it's too early to take an entire system that has taken a century of people learning in classrooms to take them online and say that it has not worked.
I'm feeling, Emmanuel, you guys, I'm feeling like you're being pessimist because Ivory Coast has actually reopened their schools, the first country in West Africa to be able to reopen schools. And I actually saw pictures from this, and the children were in masks and there was social distancing. Whether we can be able to achieve that in this country is still a big question, and that is why the government has been asking for the public to contribute and give their thoughts on this. But I really feel for prefects in Ivory Coast. How will they write noisemakers now? Everyone is in a mask in class. Someone speaks, you have no clue who spoke. Emmanuel, what else do you see being disrupted in schools?
You're talking about Ivory Coast, but the schools are reopening up, which I think we should emulate the same. We start reopening up and learn to because I told you this thing is here with us. It's not going anywhere. If we are waiting to have reporting of zero case, then I'm sorry, we'll have to stay 4 years like Lewis said. I don't know if it was World War I or II, but I've never seen Sosion in particular. Anytime he comes out to the press to try to address anything concerning the schools and the teachers and all that stuff, it's giving threats. Okay, we are giving ultimatum, let this be done or we'll strike. Striking means they'll stay at home. Right now, COVID has forced everyone to stay at home. So soon wants children and everyone to continue staying at home.
So what you're saying basically is this man is just a champion of staying at home. Who will he teach if he consistently tells people to stay at home? Lewis, what else do you think is going to change for children as they resume schooling?
They'll have to learn how to maintain health measures, for example, wearing masks and sanitization every time they're in class.
How do you even do you remember growing up, Lewis, and playing and games and all? How do you even play some of these games while you're social distancing? How does it even work?
While you're suffocating.
It's just a weird mix. Because play is how children learn, and play generally means you have to interact with the other person. So that is just sad.
Imagine playing Kati and you're in masks, you're breathing so hard. You know.
But no.
You know.
Most of these games have to get close to each other for the game to utamua game.
Yeah, you know.
So.
And we're not actually trivializing the importance of education. We're just trying to look at the solution that does not put our kids in danger. We really hope that the 9-member committee that was put in place to be able to find these solutions will be able to come up with something that we can look at.
The schools were closed too early.
Really?
Too early. Yeah. Because right now, the pupils could have done their exams waiting to open for August. They were closed too early. And a solution needs to be found.
I feel like with children, Emmanuel, you cannot be too careful. I know there were concerns that this disease does not generally affect the younger children and all, but we have seen in recent times the virus actually mutating, and young children as young as a few months old actually contracting this disease. So I feel like, what is a life not a life lost, what is an academic year lost compared to the life of a kid? And I feel a lot of parents would agree with me. Whether you agree or not, remember, you can send in your feedback. We will be sampling it. Right now, I know that our editorial team is readying a power bulletin for you. Let's take this short break as we brief you on the top stories they are working on tonight. When we come back, the purge in Jubilee continues. Thank you so much for staying with us. My name is Tracy Mokami. This is In Other News. And I have feedback from you. Thank you so much for watching. Stephen Omunyin, jina lako ni ngumu. You say it is worrying. Why can't the government start testing all Kenyans, every county, to have a testing lab? All right, interesting sentiments there. And Saskia Frederick is with us again. Thank you so much for keeping with In Other News. We know you're an avid fan. Asante sana.
Umoja United.
Umoja. I hope mulipata maji. He says education versus health. Dead students and sick students cannot learn. Why are we so much in a hurry to resume learning? We can always recover lost time, and I feel these are the sentiments of most people, all of us on this panel tonight, yeah? Stephen asks, why can't the government start testing all Kenyans? We will all turn up positive. Corona has become a member of society. You got Lewis. Would testing everyone really help?
Testing will help in that we'll have an idea of the number of cases.
But then again, how will it help us if there's no cure really?
Yeah, then again, it will help so that you know what to avoid and where not to go, how to survive a healthy lifestyle. But then again, with no cure in sight, it might be in vain. So yeah.
All right, okay. Interesting. So keep sending in your comments, call us live. We will be happy to have you on this show. Now, the pageant Jubilee is being presented as a party loyalty issue. Some say it is a blow to deal with Tanga allied MPs. Now, the process has exposed the third side of the political coin. What happens when you put a politician between a rock and a hard place? But still, Jubilee is blowing hot and cold. One day, Senator Murkomen is fired. The next day, he is rehired. The Game of Thrones live for us, Emmanuel.
I think they need to remember what Senator Orengo said, how they are going to be punished more than the opposition, about the government eating its own children. I saw Murkomen was dismissed, was it early this month? Then again today, he was given a lesser role in the Senate, but he
actually declined this position. And Lewis, I am wondering, is this an issue of pride? He says that maybe the reason why he should not take this position up is he might seem disloyal to his fellow loyalists, to the deputy president. The pride, though?
I don't think it's a matter of pride. He and the person he would be replaced, John Kenywa, have actually been close, and they are known allies. So it's like I literally take Emmanuel's job and go and sit in his chair. It feels wrong, you know.
Well, at least it remains in the family.
Well, yeah, it remains in the family, but I would not want to, take Emmanuel's coat, from his body. I'd understand where he's coming from.
All right.
But then again, I also think they are politicizing. It's Uhuru's government. At the end of the day, he's the president. He has power to do as he wishes. If he feels that a shift would help Kenyans get the resources they need, I think everything else is just politicizing.
I feel like Murkomen is behaving like a child who has disowned his parents, but still wants to live at home, because if he is so dissatisfied with the affairs at Jubilee, then why not just, relinquish all positions?
No, you cannot relinquish, actually.
Why?
It's impossible to come back. Right now it's not in good books with the system. And the system decides if you are coming back or not. So trust me, if Murkomen dares to resign or quit as the senator, then via again, atawana something else other than politics. So it's a high time they need to stick to loyalty, because it's eating both sides of both the government and the NASA and ODM side.
From we have really gotten interesting information about some of these politicians today. I feel like Millicent Omanga's case is a case of the dog ate my homework. The fact that she claims that she did not get the messages that were sent to her because she's on post-pay, and she... we actually have exactly what she said. We can listen in.
Vile nimesema, I did not receive the message. And I actually learned about the meeting. Told the chief later that I had a meeting, I was not invited, and actually you, as the lead, you did not call me to invite me. Kwa sababu kwenye simu wanasiasa unapata, like now I'll tell you on my phone I have 7,000 messages, and nimejaribu kutafuta ile message kwenye simu yangu, kusema kweli I've not seen that message, so I had no avenue to even send my apology because I had no message. And the problem ya simu kwa SMS, because hata chief anajua vile huwa anatucommunicatea, kwa sababu kama last week kulikuwa na communication ya party position in a vote we were supposed to take in parliament. Chief whip mwenyewe alituwekea barua pale kwa pigeon pale inachukuliwa, na tunaona iko na, ama akituma ile message anafuata na call, anakupigia kama kweli umepata. Kusema kweli mimi sikuona ile message. So unapata sometimes kuna challenge kama inakuwa ni message. Sometimes unapata hata simu yako imekatwa kama uko postpaid. So when your phone imekatwa, sometimes you are not able to access that. For them, sometimes in a run, if, like me, I'm on postpaid.
I actually side with her because hata mimi saingine sionangi message. Hilarious. Do you feel like her response is justified?
Millicent is, I don't even want to talk Millicent. Millicent can say anything.
Wow.
I'll pass. Che Emmanuel a comment.
You see, the way Millicent is humble in that particular meeting, she's very humble. Very humble, very polite.
It reminds me of a funny meme I have seen on social media. When husbands are told that your wife was a very obedient and humble student, and then you're like, what?
So the way she's polite and humble, English inaisha, Kiswahili inaisha, Sheng inaisha, then you'd say, okay, kitu cha kupewa, you need to give back the loyalty. You remember after the ouster of Murkomen, when he was replaced with Bogisio, the Senate majority leader, the following day, the paper, Millicent was not among those people who went to the State House. Then when Irungu Kangara started cracking the whip, she came out saying, okay, I'm going back to the president, I fully support the president, and I'm loyal to the party. If I'm told to jump, I'll just jump.
And when you speak of jumping, a lot of people are jumping, and it is hilarious that legislators from the Maa region, the Ameruka history, the highest, is so Victor Prengei, apologize repeatedly on air. Lewis, you feel like, how hard do you need to be pushed for a grown man to sit and be so humble and apologize thoroughly as much as he did?
Politics is about, there are no permanent alliances, so yeah.
And maybe we should stop calling.
If you have something to gain, why not?
Yeah, we should stop calling them political marriages, just affairs, because the time that these alliances last, man.
Yeah, you can't get what you're there for, and you go. It's just that.
And this is not the first legislator from the Maa region, Kuruka story. We also saw Olekina and how he had thoroughly tried to defend his seat, now publicly apologizing and saying he has now aligned himself to the ODM party. Emmanuel, what should we make of this?
When I saw Olekina retweeting the Baba tweet, I started laughing because the way he had a very hard stand on his position when he was elected. Then Orengo told him, look here, you need to relinquish that position. Olekina tried to wrestle, but when he saw what happened to Kindiki just the other day in the Senate, then Olekina had to tone down, apologize to Baba before his.
And I feel like this really shows us, Emmanuel. Of course, there is a side of the government, there's a side of the opposition, and ultimately there is what affects you personally as an individual. So let us not forget that these people are actually private citizens. And away from politics now to a matter that has caused public outcry across the whole world. Now, a police officer in Minneapolis on Monday pinned down one George Floyd with excessive force, unfortunately killing the man. Racism still lives on in the 20th
Niko 40 degrees. This was just unjustifiable. The guy literally did not resist arrest. Alishikwa akaekelewa magoti kwa shingo. I mean, it was just a very inhuman way of arresting somebody.
And that image is on our screens right now. And apologize if this spooks you a little bit, but it is the reality of the world that we are living in. Emmanuel.
That's not even arresting. That's murdering. You see the way that cop was on his neck. The guy is trying to say, okay, I can't breathe, but they can't listen to him. They can't listen to him. They can't hear him. Their aim was to kill him because he's black. not because he's a criminal, because that's not even how you treat criminals.
And you see, this is so outrageous that even white members of society have come out to protest these killings. We have witnessed a lot of protests in this state, in the United States. But I actually like that the United States system actually work, because people get to lose their jobs. They are actually fired over issues that have to do with racism. I don't know why the response is not like kwa nini lakini, why do they not stop this racist act? Emmanuel.
When the act was being done, only a few people are present. And you saw that particular policeman who was on the black man's neck, he had a gun ready to shoot anyone that interferes with this murder. So when I saw the white people on the streets, they decided, okay, let's avoid this social distance, whatever. Let's go and stand in solidarity, because all lives matter, not just black lives. All lives matter.
And when we speak, when we speak of this issue right now, my problem comes in because I feel like we also do not give ourselves the justice that we deserve as black people. When you look at how, conversely in our situation, the level of contrast in how we treat the white people. Lewis, have you been in a situation where you have had to let, I don't know, maybe white people prioritize whatever it is that they were doing, put their priorities above yours?
Yeah. First of all, the reason why I think we do not get justice is because these cases, we come, we protest, and then they go. And for example, in the US, there was a cop who did this some time back. And there was a time that this cop appeared on TV on a boxing match with an American rapper called DMX. As in, literally, a cop who has killed black men is here being given publicity, and DMX is being said they said that he was revenging for black people. For me, that is just utter nonsense. I think, one, anytime a black person is murdered, there need to be drastic measures, such that
so you feel like firing these people, Lewis, is not enough from their job?
That is not enough. That is not enough. Because how these cops will continue. If I lose my job and I have not lost my life, a life and a job cannot be put on the same, weighing scale.
I actually agree with you, and I hope that we will be seeing a scenario where we reclaim our dignity as Africans, because a lot of times I feel like we need economic emancipation just to be able to speak at the same level, because at times we have seen situations where our hand is forced to do not what we want, but what, countries who have the economic muscle want us to do. They even influence our policies and all. And if we continue with this discussion on African dignity, I feel like we will be, crossing over into Africa forward one Emmanuel.
It's high time we just stand firm as Africans, the way we stood against the colonialists during the pre-independence period. The same way we need to stand together. But the problem is our leaders, who are the puppets of these Europeans, these Chinese, these people from Europe, America, Russia, all that stuff. So when we get the right leaders, like remember in Zimbabwe, Mugabe stood ground. They neglected Zimbabwe at all. They were poor, but the dignity was there.
And Emmanuel, I feel like these preferences are given to different people, not just there's a different way that we treat white people, there's a different way we treat brown people, there's a different way we treat the Chinese. And I really hope we will see a scenario where all animals will eventually be equal. Now, moving on, different airlines across the world are choking with bills as their birds remain flightless due to coronavirus pandemic. These planes are also choking on this dust that their employees are actually feeding on after many have taken pay cuts, and it is a reprieve that Kenyan flights are set to resume. Lewis, but where are these people going though?
One, most people don't know this, but running an airline is very expensive. From my research and what I've read, the markups that you make in the airline industry are generally very small, about 7%.
So you're saying it is more profitable to run and do the business.
Anytime you're grounded, you're making massive losses. So I think, and since it's one world, it's a globalized world. Corona affected the entire world. You know, it only makes sense that with caution and measures, let the flights resume so that we do not lose the entire industry. Kenya Airways is not doing very well right now.
It has never done well.
Kenya Airways
It has not been doing well, for a while now.
It hasn't. It's not about Corona.
It's been making losses.
Yeah, even before Corona.
Losses throughout. So then I'm wondering, they are asking for the government, the treasury, to bail it out. Then the treasury seems to be abiding to whatever they're asking for. My question is, with all these losses, we keep on making losses, the air flights, there's no day the KQ will report a profit. Then right now, they want to start again making more losses. They'll come to tell us, okay.
I think Lewis has really advised them well, Emmanuel. He seems to feel like they do the business, makes better profit margins. Maybe they should diversify their business. Kenya Airways, Kenya do the line something, because at this rate, with these losses, and the fact that even as we are set to resume flying around, these planes have been choking with dust as well, Emmanuel. We saw a Pakistan plane actually crash as a result of not getting serviced before we go on there. I really hope that they are making the necessary preparations, Emmanuel.
The Pakistan airline crashed the day it resumed airlines. Then remember that is Pakistan. Here in Kenya, we are set to resume. I don't know if they put measures in place to make sure that our flights are in good condition to resume the trips. So, and you know, here in Kenya, we are ignorant. As long as ndege ilikuja kama inapaa, something will tell them it can still fly away, not knowing it needs some maintenance. Or if there will be maintenance, then we'll have another scandal. We used 1 billion to maintain the aircrafts during the Corona
I actually agree with you, Emmanuel. And the fact that we know a few people are actually wealthy enough to own their planes and fly around however they would wish to. My biggest question to you, Lewis, is you have seen car owners actually doing roadside sales. What kind of other business are we set to see a plane parked somewhere? Someone is selling tomatoes from inside their own plane.
Itabidi. At the rate things are going, you might end up there. But there are ways that KQ can recover, like you said, diversification, local flights, shipping in goods. Unaona kama hizo vitu, the goods that are taking weeks at the ports in Malapa, KQ can find a way, a solution to that. So there are many ways they can work around that, make some money.
I hope that even as we are set to resume flying around, we will see some little sanity, because in India we saw people crowding, people actually fighting, you know.
They were so hungry when
the airports were actually flocked with.
But where were they going?
I don't know where these people are going. You know, I feel like with coronavirus, who has
because cancelling 100 flights, it's not a joke. 100 of them, it means they were in thousands. Where are they going just day one?
Yeah, and this means kuna watu wamekanyaga pesa out here. Let this money free into the economy.
Yeah, so
alafu wakule nini?
Well, what use is it for them to be full and their neighbor hungry? It will cause chaos.
They should prioritize what
But that's how society has always been. It's not like you usually have a right to your neighbor's money. Tumezoea hivyo. That is the capitalist economy for you.
And I'm telling you, by the time we see the end of COVID-19, the social order will have changed, because at this point we have to. You saw Nyumba Kumi working recently, Lewis. By the time we are done with this COVID-19, a lot will have changed. And because we are out of time, just sample your feedback for a minute and let Alan Owino come brief you on the stories of the day. Fezla, what is it? People's names these days are so hard to read. I hope this is the name that is on your ID. You say it's so painful to have our students sick, and unfortunately, contract COVID-19, why can't we wait and see by the end of this year what will happen? Or else can the government come up with strict measures on how students will be back to school? This seems like an issue for many people across the country. And we'll be following up this for you and let you know what the government actually decides on this. So Msikule school fees, it is still not time. It is still no time.
Pay school fees actually. The whole time they've been out.
Well, how do you want the teachers to be paid, Emmanuel? This is a conversation for another day.
With our money, taxpayers' money. Those
All right.
who are paying taxes.
Well, we'll be having this conversation and more stories for you this Friday at 8 p.m. My name is Tracy Mokami. Thank you so much for keeping it in the news. Remember, Alan Owino is coming up with the day's news.
It's our responsibility to fully participate in